So, it's been a minute. I took some weeks off, reset a bit, and now I'm back with the one video I've been actively avoiding. Yeah, this one. Because talking about Michael Jackson is basically asking the internet to fight you. Doesn't matter what you say, someone's going to be mad. And honestly, fair enough. He's not a normal artist. This is not a normal story. So naturally, this is not a normal movie. Or at least, it shouldn't be. Michael is the long-awaited biopic starring his nephew, Jaafar Jackson, covering the early part of his career, especially his relationship with his father, Joe Jackson, played by Colman Domingo. In reality, this movie feels like it went through so many rewrites, reshoots, and let's not include that conversations, that what we're left with is basically the safe version of Michael Jackson. And that's kind of the problem. Because here's the thing. Michael Jackson isn't interesting because he's perfect. He's interesting because he's complicated, controversial, brilliant, strange, obsessive, inspiring, and at times, deeply uncomfortable to talk about. This movie removes almost all of that. What you get instead is this version of Michael who just wins at everything all the time. There's literally a scene where he wants his videos on MTV. They tell him no. He basically goes, "Can you try harder?" And then they just do it. Like, bro, what? That's not a story. That's a wish. Even his relationship with his dad, arguably one of the most important and intense parts of his life, feels weirdly flat. You've got Colman Domingo, who is amazing in almost everything he does. And here, this might be one of his weakest performances in a while. Not because he's bad, but because the character is written like a cartoon villain. So every interaction turns into, I want you to do this. I don't want to. And that's the biggest issue with this movie. It has no edge, no friction, no real sense that anything could go wrong. So instead of watching a human being navigate fame, pressure, and identity, you're watching a highlight reel. Now, to be fair, this movie does have something going for it. The music. Because, yeah, when you're backed by some of the greatest songs ever made, you're going to have moments, and those moments hit. Hearing those tracks in a theater, loudspeakers, big screen, yeah, it works. I'm not immune to that. And I've got to give credit where it's due. Jaafar Jackson is actually really good. Like, surprisingly good. There are moments where you're like, wait, that's not Michael? You can feel the energy, the movement, the presence. It's probably the smartest casting decision this movie made, which almost makes it worse, because he doesn't have much to work with. And here's where it gets frustrating, because apparently there was a version of this movie that explored the darker, more controversial parts of Michael's life. And then it got stripped out. So now what we're watching feels like two different movies. One that used to exist, and one that we actually got. And the one we got feels incomplete. Now, some people are going to love this, and I get it. If you're going in just wanting to feel the music, the nostalgia, the energy, this delivers that. It's clean. It's polished. It's easy to watch. You'll probably walk out feeling good. But me? I didn't want easy. I wanted something bold, something honest, something that actually tries to understand who this person was. Instead of just celebrating him for 2 hours straight, even the movie itself feels a little weird, because it hints at deeper things, his childhood, his mindset, his behavior, but never fully commits. So certain scenes come off less heartfelt and more like, wait, are we just not going to address that? There are some positives, though. Visually, it looks solid. The lighting is clean, the cinematography is nice, and the sound design is actually great. Like, you feel the music. That final performance? Yeah. The theater was shaking. People were into it. Some even clapped at the end. I did not wah, but respect. Also, random moment. When Miles Teller shows up, the whole theater kind of laughed. Not even in a bad way. It was just one of those, oh, hey, it's that guy moments. Low key, one of the most genuine reactions of the night. At the end of the day, this movie isn't terrible, but it's also not what it could have been. And that's what sticks with you. Because when you're telling the story of someone like Michael Jackson, you don't need to play it safe. You shouldn't play it safe. Final thought? This movie is like listening to a greatest hits album instead of understanding the artist who made the music. Anyway, that's what I got. Now I kind of just want to go listen to some MJ. Thanks for watching.